Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be going down the windy road, or the path that we call life. There's going to be 7 steps along the way. We're going to knock out all of them. This is produced and inspired by Tony Robbins, one of the seminars that I recently went to. So really loved it. Put our own personal twist on it to kind of match our own needs and to figure out how we can take one step closer to the things that matter most, our goals, and making the people we love and care about most happy and healthier. Cheers, friends. Enjoy the episode. It's going to be a good one. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk to Taryn Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises that'll make you the absolute best person you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. Good morning, everyone. So this morning, we're going to be heading down the road of life, the path. As we go all the way down, there's different stages. And I like how it's mocked up this way because there's going to be some lows. There's going to be some points that are a little lower. There's going to be some points that we're hitting that are a little higher. So along the way, I think just getting clarity, direction, and alignment with the things that we love and care about most are going to make it just easier. So go ahead, maybe grab your coffee, grab a notebook. Maybe you like to type on your computer. Take some notes along the way. And don't forget that you can always go to all of our social media pages and you can rewatch this stuff, take notes on it, grab the questions. You can repurpose this for your own social media content, whatever you need to do to help you be a better you. That's our goal and our mission here, and that's what gets us up in the morning having fun doing it along the way. So Tony Robbins does a really good job of explaining the different steps, the parts of the path, the pieces of the puzzle that are necessary for us to have something complete, to feel fulfilled, to feel accomplished, to whatever this word success means. We have this term success. So at the very end of the stage, say we reach success, defining what that even means. So I think maybe it's better to backtrack. Let's get started on step 1. Step number 1. So you can think of this in really just a couple words. And I have shortened these versions compared to Tony's seminars, which are really, really long, but versus I'm breaking this down. But I think the questions of it are still really good. So this step 1 would be the what and the why. So just taking the time to answer these 2 simple questions, maybe in a journal prompt, and this is set for itself. But for step number 1, I want you to just answer the question of what do you really want? And this question can be really hard to answer. It's interesting to me that this question is so hard to answer, especially in 2024 when we have so many options. It's so hard to make a decision nowadays, but that can be your superpower. That I know that is what a superpower I'm trying to develop for myself is being able to determine, being able to decide and make a decision on what it is that I truly want. And I'm getting a lot of clarity on that with the company I'm trying to build, with the assets that we're trying to add, such as in real estate, getting very clear because there's so many options and you get nonstop advertisements, all this and that along the way. So it can be very confusing and tough. So if you're struggling with answering that first part, what do you want? Maybe you take the opposite approach. People tend to be really good at deciding on things that they don't want. So maybe you ask the question, what don't I want? What do I not want along the way? And then journaling and getting some ideas of all the things that you don't want in your life. Maybe it's toxic relationships. Maybe it's working at a specific job you don't like. Maybe it's looking in the mirror after getting out of the shower and not being satisfied with how you look. All of these things, maybe you decide what you don't want, and then you work it backwards into answering the 2 parts of what do you want. And after you know and you have decided on what it is that you want, for example, I want to build a coaching company that really instills life coaching principles, but we do the takeaways you have about your life, your story, your mission, what's unique about you, and then you turn it into social media content. I want a team around me to do that. Sometimes I feel kind of lonely when I'm working and I'm doing a lot of my coaching stuff. And so I want to build a team around and a company culture and stuff that I think would be really exciting, something beyond myself. So that's what I want. But you determining what you want, it could be in the realm of health, it could be in the realm of wealth or relationships, either or. So deciding on exactly what it is that you want. After you nail the what do you want, it's really important to decide why you want it. You can think of keywords like purpose. Thinking of keys like purpose. And in our coaching, we have a whole section in a week of dedicated to creating a bunch of social media content around your purpose. Why do you want it? So if you need help with that, I have tons of exercises on purpose. Really enjoy helping people create purpose statements. I think it makes it just, whether you're sharing, communicating, you go to a networking event, you can tell somebody your purpose, or you got it on your social media profiles, or just a lot of different stuff. I think it's really fun. So having that purpose. So we start with what do you want, and then define why do you want it. I want to do it because I believe there's a huge gap between where people are natural. Like, just think of themselves. Like, people are naturally good. Like, I know it sometimes doesn't seem like that, and that's the gap I'm talking about. On the online space seems very toxic and nasty, and people are snooty and all this stuff. And then, but I believe people at their core are really kind and loving and all this. I think we just have a lot of pains. So I want you to think of this example. Your stomach hurts. You're in pain. How nice are you to other people? It's really hard to be nice when you're in pain. I think being addicted to substances, having bad habits, and living out of alignment with our true selves is causing people to feel a lot of pain. And when we feel this pain of whether it's from alcohol, smoking too much weed, nicotine products, overeating, body image issues, bad relationships, I think that's really hard. So if we can help heal people and then show the real selves, our true loving selves online, I think if I can close that gap, that's going to be my mission and purpose. All right, point one, but you can I just want to get the wheels turning on elaborating of helping you decide what do you want and why do you want it. Nail that in the journaling and get some more clarity on that. I think that's a great part. Okay, step number two would be the gap, understanding the gap. So we can put gap, just put gap down for step number two. So this is addressing where you are right now. Maybe a good keyword for this would be your resources. Resources. What are the resources that you have access to right now? Just journaling about them and getting an idea of where you're at. So you decide what it is that you want, and then decide and understand where you are at. So if you were to go on the vacation example is always a classic one. If I were to say, okay, me and you were sitting down, we're brainstorming, we're at a coffee shop, we're having fun. It's like, damn it, we're going to get some good work done. And we want to go on a vacation. They're like, hey, I really want to go on a vacation. If you were to go on a vacation and get somewhere that you want to go, you would probably have to know where you're starting at to get there. Because if you want to go to Florida and you're in Boston compared to LA, the path is going to be very different. One's going to be heading south, one's going to be heading east. So knowing this and knowing the direction that we need to head, because there's a gap. This is the gap between where we are at right now, and where we want to be. And I think addressing that and understanding that the resources needed kind of leads us into our second step. So the second part is just analyzing what are the resources that you have. Do you have people who will help you? Do you have people who will support you? Do you have a library nearby where you can get some books? Do you have a computer? Do you have a cell phone? What are all the tools and resources that you have? I think it's good. It's a good part of the process to get this all out onto paper. Okay, so after we understand what we want, the resource that we have, we can think of this part as MAP. Massive action plan. So this is an acronym from Tony's coaching. He talks about the massive action plan, creating some type of action plan. And essentially, I just want to ask the question of right now, What could you do to close this gap of where you are and where you want to be? What is one step that you can do? And just creating a rough action plan. This is where I used to get tripped up in the past a lot. I get all riled up and all frustrated. I would think, okay, I need to just make a bunch of money. I need to get there right now. And I need a perfect plan. I need every single detail to be nailed out. Because if I don't have every single detail, I'm not going to get there. But life is messy. Life is messy. It's all jacked up. It never goes the way we expect it to, but we still need some sort of a plan. So we're heading in the right direction. Oh, wow, there's a blockade right there. I need to go around this, so we need to adjust it. But I wouldn't even have gotten to the blockade if I didn't have some type of plan in the beginning. So essentially, and people don't give themselves enough credit. I know I didn't. I'm a lot smarter than I give myself credit for. You're a lot smarter than you give yourself credit for. So if you truly have been figuring out what it is that you want and why it is that you want, and then we know what resources we have right now, then we can try to put together a rough action plan. To the best of your knowledge, what is a good action plan to get you to where you want to go? Is it working out 3 times a week? Is it reading 10 minutes a day? Is it reading a little bit right now? Is it writing for 10 minutes a day? For me, for some weird reason, whenever I try to I'm going to write for an hour today, I never do it. But if I'm like, okay, I just need 10 minutes to write. Can I give myself permission 10 minutes to write before I go do this? Okay, fine, 10 minutes. And then it usually turns into a freaking hour anyway. But just getting started has always been the hardest part for me and a lot of people I work with. So I'm sure maybe you can relate to it, maybe not, but really just understanding where you are. What can you do right now? What is one thing that you can do today to get where you want to go? What are the resources that you have? What is the action plan necessary to make this possible? So right here, right now. All right, awesome. So that's step number 3. Good morning. Good morning. If you're just now joining us, we're going through the 7 steps to get down the path of life to reach success. What that means to us. We'll keep getting into the steps. So the next part is step number 4 is, I like this one, slay your dragons. Slay your dragons. So slay dragons. What's a dragon, Tanner? All right. Well, a dragon is, I like to think of these things. What are the things that are holding us back? All right. So I sit down with somebody, I sit down with myself, and I'm with my girlfriend, or so I'm like, all right, baby, we got to talk about personal development. We got to figure this stuff out. All right. What do I want? Why do I want it? What are the resources that we have? Okay. We can use these resources to get a little bit closer to where it is we want to go by creating this action plan. But then we run into these blockades. So after it's not a question of when, it's what of these dragons that come into your life. So for me, something like smoking too much marijuana, drinking alcohol on the weekends, not going to bed at a good time, watching too much TV. These are the things that keep coming in. These are the dragons. These are the distractions. Talk about distractions. These smartphones are absolutely poisonous. It's crazy because they're such powerful tools. They can literally do anything, supercomputer chips inside them, but billionaires want a whole lot more money. So they're programming these devices to keep you locked in. So what are the dragons that we need to slay so we can give ourselves real permission to take the actions today, take the actions right now that are necessary for us to get where we want to go? All right, so what are your dragons? Are your dragons your cell phone? Are your dragons a toxic relationship? Are your dragons keeping nasty processed crap food in your cabinets? What are the dragons? What are the things, the blockades that are getting in the way of? So think of the dragons. They're the blockade between where you are at, the resources that you have, and where you really want to go and why. All right. So those are dragons, and you got to slay the dragons. And Rome wasn't built in a day. this is something I wanted to add because I've struggled with this personally. I start making progress. I start working out more. I start doing these good things, and then I slip up just a little bit. I got one dragon, breathes a little fire on me and burns my ass a little bit. And I'm thinking, it's all over. I jacked it up. I messed it up again. Can't be doing that. So be careful with the dragons. Take it step by step. It's not life or death, but it is very true that we just don't have a lot of time. Tomorrow doesn't exist. We don't have a lot of time. So we want to get where we want to go, but let's do this balancing act of trying not to beat ourselves up, as we all have our dragons. And maybe it's even a sign of empathy for other people. I used to smoke cigarettes, had a hard time getting rid of those bad boys. Those are tough, I will say. And that was one of my dragons. And now that I've slain the dragon, I feel amazing about it. But when I see other people do it, I used to be nasty about it before I got hooked on it. I was like, why would you do that? Like, you're an idiot. You're a loser, all this and that. Like, very judgmental. And then I got stuck in the fly trap, and I was like, holy crap, this stuff's real. This is really painful, and this is really tough. So as we slay our dragons, thinking of it as a beautiful opportunity to help other people do the same, helping other people slay their dragons, because we all have them. And when we do get rid of them, gosh, we didn't even realize how much pain we are causing ourselves. And it's a very beautiful thing. So step number 4 is slaying those dragons, the distractions, the things that really hold us back. Okay. Number 5 would be you can think of this as a routine or a practice. So routine, practice. What are the small tasks? I have a small list of tasks that what would make today great? What is a small list of tasks that would make today great? For me, if I do a little bit of speaking, like I'm doing right here on this show, if I get to do some speaking, if I get to do some writing, if I get to do some some selling, I could just try and sell my product and service to other people. If I get to do some movement, some working out, these are the things that make today great for me. If I do a little bit of meditation, a little bit of breathing exercise, maybe we just pause every couple hours and I'm still here, still rocking a baby, ready to roll, because that stuff's free and it feels amazing. So maybe my routine is just a breathing exercise, or these are the types of things, the self-care stuff that I'm talking about that we want to do to incorporate into our action plan that we talked about, our action plan. All right. So we've defined what it is that we want. I want this coaching company to be doing this at this point. Why? Because I want to help other people not suffer from the online space, but prosper from the online space and connecting and maximizing our opportunities. That's my why. I got my purpose. All right, what resources I got? I got a laptop. I got a great family, an amazing, loving partner. I got these resources. And it's like, okay, how can I create a plan? A short plan. It's like, all right, I'll just go live and I'll talk and I'll try and help people and I'll do this. All right, that's working. Oh, wow, I have these anxieties and these distractions from my dragons. And okay, so if I do a breathing exercise and a routine, then I can help calm myself down. I can recenter myself when I get off track, because that's part of life, is getting off the path a little bit. That will happen. So then we can get back on with our routines. That leads us to number 6. Number 6. And that's our standards. So our standards are, we had a really good episode on standards yesterday. You can also think of standards as rules. You're like, Tanner, I don't want any rules in my life. I don't want that. It turns out structure is actually really good for people. We tend to fight structure. They're like, oh, I don't want, if I have too much structure, I'll be put in a cage. But structure is what actually allows creativity to flourish. When we can take our minds off of the every little decision here and there, it's called decision fatigue. We lose the energy. When you lose your energy, you lose your will. When you lose your will, you lose your standards. When do people go through the fast food drive-through to eat? When they're tired, when they don't have the energy to decide. That's why standards, structure, rules, things like meal planning, things like just, I wear the same thing pretty much every day. Got a couple versions of this black outfit, boom, wear it every day. Don't have to think about it. Easy to go. Meal prepping, food's been cooked. It's done. I've decided this is what I'm going to eat because when I eat this, I feel this way and I look this way. It's decided, it's done. And then it's so interesting that we were just talking about that. When we have set our standards for the foods that we eat, for the movement that we're going to take on, the rules that we set for ourselves, it really allows us to open up and have extra creativity for our last step. So we set the standards, the rules, and also you can think of a key word for this is measure. I say this on the show all the time, and I'm going to say it another 1,000 times. You can't manage what you don't measure. So we got to be able to check in. So as we're going through, we have some dragons along the way. Man, I could really use a beer right now. I need it, quote unquote. I need it. And it's like, okay, what's really going on? Well, I need a routine that's going to help me get out of my head and back into the world. All right, breathing exercises, exercise, talking with loved ones, taking a break, going for a hike or something beautiful like that. And going from this routine and practice, boom, I'm checking in with myself. Maybe I'm just once a week. Maybe you do some journaling. Maybe you're writing out in your notebooks the answer to these questions and this path along the way, but just some form of measurement, and just a system to check in. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We're way smarter than we give ourselves credit for. But being able to measure and say, am I off or am I on? And I feel like we can feel it. Allow our bodies, allow our senses to be the compass to make sure that we are still heading or in the right direction on our path. Need some water. I was about to jump into the show this morning and I almost forgot my water. So shout out to my wonderful, amazing girlfriend for getting me some. All right, on to our last point. So we've raised our standards. We have a form of measurement, just something to check in with. And the last one is life is a gift. Life is a gift. When we start to realize that life is very precious, life is very short, and nothing's promised and nothing's given, I think this is the top of the mountain. This is the end of the road. And this is when we can start to do things. Think of other keywords such as give. There's nothing. I remember hearing this a long time ago from my coach. And I thought, just being young little T-dog, not knowing anything about anything, I shout out to my coach Steve, by the way. But he's like, when you're helping other people, remember you're the one who's getting the benefit. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I just got done complaining for like 20 minutes about how I'm doing this for this person, I'm doing this for this person, I'm doing that for this person, and they gave me nothing. They didn't give me shit. They didn't give me nothing. And I'm thinking, what the heck? I gave you all this, and you didn't give me nothing back? But it turns out, it was helping a friend. Really, I got the benefit of knowing when it matters most, I show up, I help out, I care about people. And that's what we really want. When it comes to giving, when it comes to helping other people, be careful of this illusion of I help them, so I got to get something back. I got to get something back. But it turns out the giver is the one who's actually receiving. It's like, dang it. It's funny because we still play this role and it'll go over and over. And I'm going to get better with it in time. Am I perfect at it right now? No. But I will continue to learn. I will continue to grow and develop and learn that life is precious. And it is about giving back to others. that when we make too much about what it is that we want about ourselves, we get stuck, we get frustrated, and we run into these dragons. These dragons so often are just things that we desire to, we're in our head way too much. Think of things like overthinking. Think of things like overindulging. Think of things of not honoring our emotions, but believing that our emotions are doing us harm when they're really just acting as a guide and a compass for us to be the best versions of ourselves. So be careful of this. All right, folks, if you're just now joining us, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in to the show this morning. Happy Tuesday. All right, let's do a little quick run through, a million miles an hour, and then we'll get out of here for this morning. I got a busy day, busy coaching day this day. It's going to be a good one. Can't wait. But step number one in your journals, go ahead and write out what you really want and why you want it. If you struggle with answering what you really want, maybe you write about what you don't want. Step number two, just write out the resources that you have. What are all the resources that you have available for you? Maybe it's a cell phone, maybe it's a laptop, maybe it's people, maybe it's a library, maybe it's an office. What are all the resources that you truly possess? And remembering the things that we have will hopefully help us just feel a little more grateful, a little more gratitude. It's hard to be frustrated in that state of gratitude. So addressing those resources. Then create a very brief, messy plan. Just like, what are some things that you want to do? For me, I want to comment on 10 other people's posts in a day. I want to create 3 social media posts, and I want to reach out to 30 people in direct message of people who would possibly be good guests for my podcast. Boom, rough, messy plan for my business, but just something rough maybe for you. It's exercise. You want to just exercise 4 times a week. What are the exercises, this and that? You see what I'm saying? All right. As you take action on it, because you're going to take one step closer to it today, then you're going to run into a dragon. A fire-breathing dragon is going to come out of nowhere, and it's going to say, this is going to be your cell phone. This is going to be unhealthy food. This is going to be toxic people. These are the dragons of life that are going to come out, and we got to try and slay them. Maybe it's setting boundaries. Maybe we set boundaries. You take that phone and you chuck it out the window, and you get it out of your house for just a couple hours. Or maybe a toxic relationship. I can't work around this person, so I am going to go read on a porch. I'm just going to get away from it, or I'm going to go to a library or something. Environment or something along the boundaries, environment. Just think of, how do I need to set myself up for success and slay these dragons? Maybe we need professional support. Maybe we need a coach. Maybe you need to talk to Tanner. Maybe we need to look at other resources. All right. So once we slay our dragons, maybe we use a routine to help slay the dragons. If you're overthinking things, if you're letting your anxiety get out of control, maybe you need a routine of cold plunges, maybe taking a cold shower, maybe you need a breathing exercise, maybe you need to just journal a little bit, but you slay those dragons with the routines. Okay, we do the routines, and then we come back once a week, twice a week. You say you meet with me, you can book a free call over at 1plp.com, but you find a form of measurement, something to measure along the way. So these are the standards that we set for ourselves. These are the rules, the structure that allows us to have a foundation to stand on and really open up our minds for creativity. And that leads us last to the ultimate one. Life is a gift. It's all about giving. Who can you help today? Who can you give back today? Because it turns out giving, the ones who give are the ones who actually receive. Cheers to that, folks. That's all I got for today. This was the 7 steps to success, the path of life, the road taking down. Go ahead, write these out in your notebooks, chop them up. You can always come back and you can rewatch our content over at YouTube if there was a specific section or question or talking point that you really enjoyed. But I love Tony Robbins. I really love this. I appreciate that I have the ability to kind of reinterpret the stuff that he's saying to try and help and benefit my own life and the people I love and care about most. But cheers, friends. If you got value from this show this morning, please share it with somebody else. Make sure to tell them that we're going live at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time now in the mornings. This was our first day of that, and it was cool. I'm glad that multiple people we had actually more people come and watch it this morning than usual, so that's cool. But yeah, we Tell people that we're starting at 9 a.m. in the mornings, and that if you like the episode, share it on any of your social media platforms. It means the world to me, as I really want to use this as a zero cost way to help others be better, feel happier, and be healthier. Cheers, friends. Love you all. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning with episode 484 tomorrow morning. Wow, 484. We're rocking and rolling. Road to 1,000, baby. We're the consistency king here. So cheers, friends. Have a great day. Love you all. Cheers to creating this plan. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.